All right, I'm going to call the City Council regular meeting together. It is 6 p.m. Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. We are at Granbury City Hall, 116 West Bridge Street, Granbury, Texas. And I am now called us to order. So we will move directly to the invocation. Mr. Lowell Erkenbach, Senior Pastor of Hope Community Church and Chaplain for the Granbury Volunteer Fire Department, will be saying the prayer for us tonight. I don't see Lowell here, do you?
Nope.
So I'm going to ask if Mr. Kaufman would lead us in prayer. If we'll all stand, then we will pledge allegiance to the flag.
So, Father in heaven, we just come to you tonight. Just thank you for this blessing that we have to be able to be here tonight and to serve you and to serve our community at the same time. And we just look forward to the blessings of the future that you have for us here in Granbury. We thank you for the people that are here that are interested in helping and joining our committees and boards that we need so desperately to partner with. And we just thank you for their interest and their willingness to serve. Thank you for our people, our employees, our team members that work so hard every day just to provide the service that we need as citizens, keep the services running in spite of the weather or the obstacles of disaster or whatever may come our way. We just thank you for the provision of a great community. Just bless these guys as they make a decision tonight, one way or another, on all these different items. Just give them direction and peace. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. All right. Just moving right along, we have proclamation and presentation, and I think City Manager has a few words to say here.
Yep, I would like to congratulate our tourism team, the entire department, for bringing home a lot of awards. More importantly, our director, Tammy Dooley, has been elected as the president of Texas Fairs and Events, or festivals. I'll let her come up to the microphone and tell us all about that responsibility, plus these awards that we recently received through their hard work and marketing efforts. So thank you, Tammy. Appreciate all you do for us.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman. I tell everyone that we get a lot of attention at Visit Granbury, but we really do it on behalf of the entire city, and we're just fortunate enough to be in a position that we have a lot of competitions and such. But yes, the Texas Association of Fairs and Festivals and Events Association was held 2 weeks ago in Fort Worth, Texas. It is the largest in the state, and Visit Granbury was honored to walk away with 10 awards. They're on display up here. They're very fancy. We received 7 first-place awards and 3 second-place awards. I attended the conference along with Kristen Gibson and Rhiannon Moline. And it is primarily an educational conference where we learn everything about the event industry and how it can impact a community. So that component is great, and the awards is just the really fun, shiny part of the convention. I do serve on the state executive board, and I've been working myself through the ranks for many years, and I'm very proud to be the new president, which is quite a responsibility for me. It's something I'm really looking forward to. This competition is a marketing excellence competition and recognizes cities and organizations for outstanding promotions in marketing and communications, and allowing all of other cities and events to learn from each other and see what is the biggest trends and the most effective marketing solutions in the market today. So if I can just say, the awards were for Best Photo for Lake Fest 2024, Best Media Guide Press Kit for Visit Granbury's Media Guide that we supply to our media organizations, Best Television Commercial for a television commercial that we did titled Your Summer Escape Awaits in the West Texas market last summer. Best live news coverage for last year's Goosebump Jump on Fox 4 News. Best specialty video for our Celebration Capital of Texas video, under 2 minutes. And then best special video, 2 minutes plus for the same campaign. And our e-newsletter that we send out at least weekly, promoting all the upcoming events in Granbury. We won for our 4th of July promotion. And then second place was at the best outdoor advertising for Sleepy Hollow Experience. And best other merchandise, which is amazing to me because all the cities have great unique items they promote, and everyone knows we did a Granbury celebration sock that was with the hit. Everyone loved it. It was so great with all of our logos on it, and it won a second place award. And then best miscellaneous marketing for the Celebration Capital for the City Hall windows downstairs. So that was really unique. So we're just very proud to bring these awards home to Granbury and say thank you for all your support in our tourism efforts.
Thank you, Tammy. You know, I just want you to know that we couldn't be more proud of you and your department for all that you do to market us. It's incredible. All you got to do is just get on social media and you see something going on in Granbury, and you guys are putting it together. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, the next thing I'd like to bring about is some discussion and recognition over the recent new award status for our fire services classification from a 3 rating to a 2 rating. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Michael Ross, our Deputy City Manager. He works closely with the fire department, and he's going to give us a report, and I think the fire chief may even share some light on it too. So take it away, sir.
Thank you. As you know, the City of Granbury and the Granbury Volunteer Fire Department are pleased to announce the significant improvement of the city's Insurance Services Office, which is that ISO that we refer to, that rating. Following a recent comprehensive audit, Granbury's classification will improve from a 3/3Y to a distinguished 2/2Y, and Matt will go into a little more detail on that. Those ISO ratings, they do range from 1 being the highest to 10 being the lowest. The scores reflect various factors. While the fire department's capabilities, including response times, equipment, and training, play a critical role, the city's infrastructure also contributes significantly. Factors such as water supply, emergency communication systems, the building code enforcement, fire inspections, and public education programs are an integral part of this evaluation. The improved rating not only underscores enhanced safety and preparedness, but should also result in reduced insurance premiums for residents and businesses. Additionally, these businesses may be more likely to locate to a city with a good ISO rating, and also due to the lower commercial insurance costs, which obviously can boost economic development. This new classification will take effect on April 1st of 2025, and at this point I would like to introduce Matt Hohan, the chief for the Volunteer Fire Department, who was instrumental in pulling all of this together. It was a lot of work by all the departments, but Matt spearheaded it along with Jesse, and it's amazing, and couldn't be more proud.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, Mayor, City Council, citizens, appreciate your time for this and your support. So with us achieving our Insurance Service Office rating from that 3 to the 2, Mr. Ross highlighted a lot of what's covered there in water supply, communications, training, maintenance, testing, inspections, and record keeping. And it's just a gigantic investment on the city's part, and particularly by the city management and city council. There's a lot that goes into it. I've been personally working on this project for about 8 years. It really took the last 2 to pull it together. There's a lot that goes into it. So what does this 2 and what does this 2Y mean for the citizens and for city? So a 2 is anywhere within the city and 100 feet of a fire hydrant. The 2Y is anywhere in the city plus 5 road miles, so you can still be technically inside the city, and more than 5 road miles from a fire station, and then also 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant. And this rating is saying that. That is what we're meeting. And the numbers I was hunting down, the one number I was trying to find is, because Granbury's a true volunteer fire department. I'm volunteer, the members are volunteer, we respond from pagers and digital technology. We don't run staffing. And I was trying to find anyone else in Texas that has this. There isn't. Tried to find it nationally. I can't find it. We're it. Now, I won't go as far as to say nationally we're the only ones, but in Texas, we're it. What do those numbers actually look like for the city? So in the city, or in the state of Texas, there's 333 organizations that are ISO 2 rated out of 2,865 recognized. That we're in the top 13% in the state. Nationally, we're in the top 5%. So that's what that number means. And the amount of time, energy, and effort that it takes from not just council and city management, but the other departments that help pull this together, it's not something that we could do by ourselves. We had a huge amount of help from multiple department heads to really make this truly all the way through. And at the end of this, it is a special event for the organization. It's a special event for the city. And me and my assistant chief, we put a little time into putting together a gift. And I'm going to have my assistant chief start handing it out now. And if you're not familiar with what a challenge coin is,
Yes, please.
Sure.
I'll have
I thought you were
you
gonna throw them.
meet up with me afterwards, and I'll kind of explain what the challenge coin is and means. And it's just our way of saying thank you for your time.
1907.
And even though we may have some new city council members on here, I assure you we're going to be leaning on you in the future for your support. And I can't thank you enough, and I can't thank the citizens enough for allowing us the opportunity and to actually show you how powerful a volunteer organization can be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt. And
Very good. So you think in 2 more years you'll be able to get us to a 1?
Maybe 3.
3? Okay.
At least 3.
That's in the minutes.
so this is a good example, and thank you for coming tonight, of how it's a massive undertaking to achieve a score like this. It's intentional. We got a list, like you said, about 8 years ago, and we started looking at that list and what we need to be doing to meet these goals to get this better rating. And literally, the council has invested the money in the equipment, the water lines, the infrastructure, the water tower at Meander. How about the third fire department provided by a private individual that provides fire equipment, and we host some equipment at that station as well. But, we've got a third station that helps with that geographic distribution. All these people working together making this happen is just incredible. It's just a great example of the excellence of the public service that our community provides. And also, thank you to the taxpayers, because I remember two tax seasons ago, we had to raise taxes a half cent to go towards firefighting equipment. And, we endured that, and there was a lot of negative pushback from that. But it's a direct result measured today and tonight by you seeing the results of your investment in the community, and we want to ensure you that you're getting a good bang for your buck. And so, thank you, Granbury Volunteer Fire Department. You guys are awesome. You got 70-plus members. I can't believe that with a volunteer department, but it's awesome, and y'all do a great job taking care of us. And just by y'all volunteering and providing that service, you're saving the taxpayers another 30 cents per $100 value. If we had to replace your free labor with tax-paid staff for 3 different departments, excess of $3 million, $4 million. So thank you very much, and thank you for this gift, and we'll treasure it because it's got the number 2 on it. It says that's not because we're in second place. That's because we got a number 2 rating. So I know of one volunteer fire department in the state of Texas that has a one, and it's Pasadena, and it's fully staffed all the time with people there. Pasadena, Texas, oil industry, refinery hub, chemical plants, all that, and it's a volunteer fire department. 65% of all firefighters in the nation are volunteers. You hear somebody say we can't get XYZ here because we got a volunteer fire department, you just tell them that's not true. We've got a better fire rating than most communities in the state. So thank you again, Matt. Thank you.
I would like to add, Matt, and I'm pretty sure this is true, but it's guys and gals on our volunteer fire department, right? Great. Okay.
I use that term interchangeably.
I know. All right. Anybody? Council?
Mr. Mayor? Mr.
Yes,
Mayor?
sir. Mr. Overture?
So Granbury's is a member of the Texas Municipal League, which we refer to it as TML. And TML is an organization of about 1,173 cities in Texas. And they represent our interests before the legislative, the administrative, and the judicial bodies at the state and federal levels. So there's 15 sub-state regions, and Granbury's in Region 8. So last week, Region 8 met in White Settlement for our quarterly meeting. And at that meeting, our own City Councilman Eddie Rodriguez was elected president of TML Region 8. In that position, he'll work to promote the interests of the 10 counties in Region 8 to the Texas Municipal League. So, Eddie, good on you.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right. Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez.
thank you, Skip. But what I just wanted to say, I've gotten numerous calls and I've had numerous people come up to me, and I just want the staff to know the relationship that they've developed over the years with Atmos Energy and how they responded this past weekend at Abe's Landing. Had one individual come up to me, he said, Eddie, I couldn't believe it. He said, I saw at least 50 Atmos trucks in Abe's Landing trying to get gas back to those houses as fast as they could. Probably, we got a text, all the city council got a text that at least 90 technicians were at that site and in that subdivision trying to repair the leak that they had and get those families back in their houses with heat. And I just want to say to the staff, thank you for making those relationships. Those relationships is what we strive on and rely on when it comes to those individuals responding in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's outstanding. Other comments? Yeah. Well, yes, sir.
I was looking for this.
She's right there.
Yeah, she's out there, and she's with Atmos. So.
All right. We're moving right to public comments on agenda items, and everybody has 3 minutes for comments regarding the agenda item, and I have 4, and I'm going to start with Ms. Lisa Neese. I believe you're from Atmos Energy. Thank you very much for this past week. It's, it service above and beyond. You know that.
Thank you. And it could not, I'm seconding that, it could not happen on our end without the relationships with Granbury. The ISD first call, yes, you can use our parking lot. We brought the mobile command center here, speaking with city staff, getting those, all of our customers back on. Chris was out there Sunday texting me when I was in the parking lot of CVS trying to get some stuff for he's like, I got this one here, here's this one. And so it couldn't happen without our partnership. And you're right, we had 90 technicians and plumbers out here ready to rock at 7 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning. So we couldn't do it without y'all's help. And so thank you on behalf of Atmos Energy. That brief outage, we tried, and we were successful getting everybody back on before that winter storm hit, or the cold temperatures. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone from Abe's Landing out here? Mr. Have? Yeah.
I would like to add to that. I did get the privilege of helping with that a little bit, and what a pleasure it was to see it all come together And at the end of my time, we had 2 connections that were still not reconnected on Sunday evening, and one of the families was on a cruise, and we gave the HOA number. They connected and made something happen, and then the other one was a new home, and the home builder wasn't too worried about it. So a huge success. Both Sandstone and Abe's Landing were without gas Friday night, and just thank the good Lord that it wasn't as cold as it was last night for them. So anyway, thank you.
Very
Appreciate all the work you did. And she's our new relations rep with Atmos, and she's been coming and seeing and visiting with us, building that relationship for the last few months. So when I get a call from her, it was like, oh, I know who this is, and it was just really good. And appreciate the emergency response. Outstanding.
Okay. I have others that have signed up to speak, and the next one is Ms. Lourdes Doonan.
Thank you very much, distinguished mayor, councilman, our city manager, our staff, and our resident. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to petition my request to seek your vote as I am requesting the appointment for the Granbury Cultural Arts District Commission. I feel that my background, both professionally as well as academically, positions me as a very strong candidate. Last year, I have been actually a resident. I've owned a property in Granbury in the county since 2007. It has been our second home, but most recently, in the last 3 years, we've called Granbury our home, our primary home. I'm very proud of it. I am a very passionate artist as well, and for this reason, I feel that I have the strength and the vision to see not only firsthand, but recognize the value and the benefit that art brings, not only health-wise, but also to a city. And I look forward to the opportunity, knowing the impact that it would have on our community and our town, not only from a health standpoint, but economically. And that's what I'm passionate about, and being a part of that, being a part of the vision that brings the cultural and the arts to Granbury. I seek today, my name is Lourdes Doonan again, and I seek your vote. I hope that you give me the trust in this role. I will not take it for granted. I feel very passionate about it. And once again, I say thank you, and my name is Lourdes Doonan. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doonan. Okay. Mr. Paul Lloyd. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, city manager. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I, too, have submitted an application to join the Cultural Arts Commission here in Granbury. My wife and I have lived here for about 4 years now. She's an artist, and she has been on the commission for the past 2 years, and she thought that might be something I would be interested in when she dropped off. So I started attending the meetings with her a few months ago. And I've seen the work that they've accomplished, and I've seen the detail that goes in behind it. And although I'm not an artist, I'm a retired attorney. I really believe I can help this organization through working through the details, keeping on schedule, that sort of thing. I've seen the power of art on people and on children here at Granbury. And currently, Barbara and I are both part of the History Ambassador programs here. I'm on the board of the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. And through Barbara, I've had the opportunity to be involved in a lot of different art programs. And I appreciate your consideration, and I would consider it an honor to serve on this commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Appreciate it. And Ms. Allison Ullum.
I will not take long, I'm sure. I am on the Arts Commission, and I just wanted to speak to my observations there. First of all, Stacy is seeking reappointment, and she is an amazing asset and advocate for the arts in Granbury. And then what I have seen is that Paul and Lourdes are attending quite a number of meetings, so they do have the background there. I know nothing about any of the other appointees, if there are any. Just wanted to share my observations.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Okay. I don't have any more of anybody that signed up, so we will move on to the consent. I'm sorry. I do have one more.
Stacy.
Is she here?
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Stacy Martin.
Good evening, Councilman and Mayor and City Manager. My name is Stacy Watkins Martin, and I have owned a gallery in Granbury for 17 years. I've worked closely with the art groups, such as the Galleries of Granbury that did introduce the last Saturday Gallery Night. And also, I was the vice chair for the Granbury Arts Alliance that, after COVID, reintroduced Dinner in White, which has been a huge success. And for 2 years, I was the chair and the vice chair for Harvest Moon Festival. I have fully immersed myself in the arts, and for the last 20 years, and I've been an artist longer than that. I'm deeply passionate about the arts and fully recognize the impact of tourism and local economic development. It has been a joy to witness our city's artistic growth, and I'm eager to continue contributing to this development. For the past 4 years, I have served as the vice chair for the Granbury Arts Commission, during of which we achieved our cultural arts designation, which was a significant accomplishment with extensive effort. We have also introduced art talks biannually that have had a really positive impact on our community and a good reception, I feel like, and the Out of the Box program. I am seeking reappointment to further advance our programs that we have established to see our plans through to completion. I thank you for allowing me for the last 4 years to serve, and I take pride in my role as the Commission's achievements, and I observe our city's increasing enthusiasm and appreciate it with greatness and want to see it grow for the arts. Thank you. And thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right. We're going to move to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda, routine or previously discussed items, will be approved with one motion. However, should any member of the City Council wish to discuss any item, said item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the deliberation agenda. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to move off? I see no one saying anything. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Oberdehr, a second. Mr. Corrigan, seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That is 5-0. We'll note that Councilman Wadley is not here tonight. All right. We can go directly to item 7.1, and this is a resolution number 25-03, the City of Granbury, Texas, to determine the cost of certain authorized improvements to be financed within the Lakeview Landing Public Improvement District, approving a preliminary service and assessment plan, including a proposed improvement to Area 1 Assessment Road, Improvement Area Number 2 Assessment Road, and Improvement Area Number 3 Assessment Road, directing the filing of the assessment rolls within the city secretary, and providing for noticing and calling 3 public hearings on February 18th, 2025 to consider ordinances levying assessments on property located within the Lakeview Landing Public Improvement District. I think Mr. Kaufman has some comments.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Sorry you had to read that whole thing. The developer contacted me on Friday last week, and they are not ready for this part to move forward yet. So they are working with their financing team on their side of the equation that goes along with this public improvement district. And so they asked that I remove the agenda item, and I told them we would simply table it to an indefinite date and give them time to get, I want to call it, get their ducks in a row, and then we'll start the time clock again. As you see, there's 3 public hearings that need to be adopted in that resolution, so there's no sense in scheduling these public hearings for next month when they don't have their business in order yet. So nothing negative against them. This is just an ordinary course of business that they're working through. Our staff and our legal team have worked hard to get it to this point, so they're not waiting on us. That's the main thing. And so now the ball is in their court, and I'm confident that they're going to finish their half of the equation and move forward. So staff would recommend that we table this indefinite.
Okay. Do I hear that motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Oberdeer?
I make a motion to postpone indefinitely agenda item 7.1.
Hear a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Ullum seconds the motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. It has been postponed indefinitely by a vote of 5-0. Thank you. 7.2, consider awarding bid number 23-24 to Enprotect Hibbs and Todd, Inc., based upon their statement of qualification for engineering services for the TxDOT US 377 water and sewer relocation improvements, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract. And consider adopting ordinance number 25-05, amending the budget for the Enterprise Capital Fund for fiscal year 2024-2025 to appropriate funds for the referenced professional services for the water and sewer relocation improvements. Will we handle this as 1 or 2 items? Since 1? Okay. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you. We do have our Public Works Director, Chester Nolan, here to present this. But before he gets started, I'll just say that we've gone through a lot on this Highway 377 process, and we're beginning to see the light at the end of the day, folks. We've got to move utilities to be able to see the highway improve. So, Mr. Nolan, if you'll tell us about this item, we'll get rolling on it.
All right, I'll try to keep it short. Mr. Mayor and Council, this item is on request to get engineering aspects of the city's portion of it so that the 377 144 interchange there on the west side of town, we can get that done. We sent out RFQs for engineering services to a number of folks. We received 7 responses back. These responses were reviewed by myself and the deputy city manager, and we scored those. And Enprotect Hibbs and Todd are the #1 engineering firm in this particular project. There are 11 separate items within the project, ranging in everything from boring under the lake at the bridge on 377. We have a number of water line and sewer line relocations, and it will take some time to get all that done. The total project cost is estimated to be $11,200,000, I believe I think that's exact quote. The engineering aspect of it is $1,080,000, and I would recommend to the council that this be approved. All we're doing tonight is approving the engineering cost. I think the city manager has the financial end of it as far as where the funds are coming from and how we'll move forward with it. But we need to get the engineering portion of it on the road. And I answer any questions specifically that you might have.
Questions, council?
We also have Chris Hay, the local engineer with Improtech Gibbs and Todd, available to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? As Mr. Kaufman says, it's not the first time we've talked about 377. It won't be the last either, I'm sure. So this is this is for the engineering study, the $1.8 million, and I understand there is some time constraints on this?
Yes, we need to have it completed by midsummer, get it to TxDOT so that they can do their programming, and then we'll need to move forward with the actual construction work. The boring will take approximately 90 days, we've had some discussions about the length of the time the boring machine will be on site, anywhere from 24/7 to 8 hours a day, but nevertheless, it's going to be there, and it'll be kind of I won't say an interruption, but it'll certainly be noticeable there that when they're doing that boring. On the other side of it, we will have water and sewer relocation lines that we'll have to move, and some of them will be abandoning and putting in additional lines. So it's going to be a pretty healthy project to get going, but it will be very beneficial for the city once it's completed.
And the time frame is the engineering study has to be done.
Is about 6 months.
June of the coming year. So
yes, sir.
Not the construction.
No.
At that point.
No, not the construction is probably at least 1 year, maybe longer than that. And Chris may have a better idea on that. Chris Hay,
Yep. We need to have the construction completed by the end of 2026.
26, yes.
And they're going to award the bid in 2027, and they won't advertise it as long as our utilities are in the way. So,
Yep.
Atmos is going to have to move their lines, and Spectrum and AT&T and
There's going to be a lot of folks out there
United
working.
Co-op and whoever else has got power out there. So it's going to be a big deal.
Yes, sir.
And I would like to say that I discovered today an opportunity to maybe get some low interest rate financing we can compete from TxDOT. So they've got a infrastructure financing plan that somewhat lower than just straight COs. But if we have to issue COs, we're probably looking at around 4% interest right now. So, but the other is about a point less, so 2.5 to 3.5 range, depending on the market at that time. So, anyway, we'll make progress.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chester.
Other questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So you see the motion on the, did you have a question? No. You see the motion on the board here? Do I ever hear a motion to award the bid number 23-24-14 to Improtech, and then proceeding also to adopt the ordinance number 2505, amending the budget for the Enterprise Capital Fund for fiscal year 24-25?
So moved.
Mr. Corrigan makes a motion. Here a second.
Second.
Mr. Rodriguez makes a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. That will pass 6-0. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. All right. We're now going to move to 7.3. Consider appointments to the following city boards, commissions, and committees: Building Standards, Plumbing, Adjustments and Appeals Board, Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, Ethics Commission, Granbury Cultural Arts Commission, Granbury Parks Board, Granbury Regional Airport Board, Historic Preservation Commission, Planning and Zoning Commission, and Zoning Board of Adjustment. We have lots of opportunities for lots of volunteers to assist in our community. I didn't even mention the volunteer fire department there. All right. So we have the first one. Start with the Building Standards, Plumbing and Adjustments. We have and you'll have to keep me straight on this, we have 3 vacancies, and we only have 2 individuals that have signed up, correct? This works?
No, we have, we have 3 terms expiring and 3 vacancies. So we have 6 open spots and only 2 people signed up.
Any-
Building standards. So
Any,
basically, Brian Blevins and Brian Gaffin are the applicants. They would be appointed unless someone has a dissent to that.
You heard the,
No, they would just.
Yeah, Mayor, I
Mr.
mean,
Rodriguez?
with lack of applications, I'll make the recommendation to select Brian Blevins and Brian Gaffin onto the Building Standards Plumbing Adjustments and Appeals Board. I'll make that motion.
Second.
second by Mr. Oberdear. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Passes 5-0. Thanks to Mr. Blevins and Mr. Gaffin for stepping up here. And if any one of you know electricians, plumbers, and other members of the building industry, we have 4 openings in this group. Second one is the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, and we will appoint 4 of the 5 members. Do you want to help me with this?
Yeah. For the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee, I would suggest that you appoint Brian Blevins, Jerry Kohlberg, Eddie Funderburk, because they are in the building and real estate industry, and we're required to have 40% of our 7 members be involved in that industry, which, if my math is correct, that's about 2.8. So 3 members must be in there. We have 2 other members who are what we call other. They're not in that industry. We're also required by the statute to have 1 member who lives in the ETJ, so that would be Catherine McGill. So for legal compliance, we would name Catherine McGill to the vacancy, reappoint Brian Blevins, Jerry Kohlberg, and Eddie Funderburk, and Mr. Paul Cornell would fill the remaining vacancy for the unexpired term that will end in 2026. So moved.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Jerry Kohlberg is also he's also representing us as the ETJ representative.
Yeah, he was originally appointed as the ETJ representative, but we need to transition him over because he is involved in building and real estate, and we need at least 3 members to be compliant with the statute.
Okay.
And so it makes sense to convert him over so we have that compliance, and then Ms. McGill would then fill the ETJ requirement.
So, Mayor, I make the motion that we appoint all the members that we've received applicants so far: Brian Blevins, Jerry Kohlberg, Paul Cornell, Eddie Funderburk, and Catherine McGill, with Paul filling in the unexpired term ending in January 2026, and Catherine filling in the vacant seat as our ETJ representative.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a second from Mr. Oberdear. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. So those gentlemen and ladies are appointed, and we still have 2 vacancies, correct?
No.
No?
That will fill that.
That fills it?
For 3 years.
Okay. It says here the board was originally 7, but currently has 5 and 2, so it's,
Yeah, so we have 3 members whose terms expired and 2 vacancies that were present, but we still have 2 members that
Gotcha.
are on unexpired terms.
okay. All right. And you'll be able to say that on the Ethics Commission, too?
My suggestion on the Ethics Commission is that maybe you direct your city attorney to rewrite that entire ordinance and review that and see if we can come up with something a little better. I don't know.
Yeah, we're having trouble with people who want to raise their hand for the Ethics Committee. Mr. Reyes is very much appreciated, but he, too,
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez.
Mayor, I don't know about the, I know we're having troubles with the Ethics Commission, but can that be a special appointed commission? Jeremy, do you know anything about that? Let's say we just don't have that commission. It could be a special appointed commission that is appointed by the city council when needed.
So that would actually absolutely be the case now. If there were an ethics complaint filed, we would have to request applications and appoint an ethics commission at that time to hear that complaint.
Okay.
So we actually have no action to take here, correct? Unless it's to consider a separate council. Okay.
We'll work on that ordinance and try to come up with a better solution.
Actually, yeah, if we don't need it, that's, I guess, the best of all worlds. Okay. Moving to the Granbury Cultural Arts Commission. We have, please help out here.
Okay. We have
I'm going to take credit later for getting this done, but go ahead.
So there are 4 seats, 4 appointments that need to be filled there. We have, I believe, 6 applicants. At least one of the appointments tonight must be a city resident. And so you can make your nominations. If more than 4 are nominated or 4 people are nominated and at least one of those is not a city resident, then we'll have to go to a vote.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Oberdehr.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to nominate Jan Caldwell, Lourdes Dunan, Paul Lloyd, and Stacy Martin to the Granbury Cultural Arts Commission.
Okay, I hear that nomination,
Second that.
seconded by Mr. Ullum. Do I have other nominations? So that would fulfill our obligation for the city resident, correct?
It would, yes.
Okay, very good. So I have a motion to nominate Jan Caldwell, Lourdes Dunan, Paul Lloyd, and Stacy Martin. It has been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. I hear no nays. That is passed 5-0. Thank you. Congratulations for staying on this committee. Granbury Parks Board.
Pretty easy. 6 vacancies and only 5 applicants. So unless someone here has some sort of a dissent as to any one of the applicants, the motion would be to appoint the 5 applicants.
So moved.
I hear a motion to appoint the 5 applicants.
Second.
Mr. Ullum seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. That will pass 5-0 as well. For the Granbury Regional Airport Board, 5 members and 1 alternate, and looks like we have 7 people here, right? Okay,
Mayor,
yes.
I make the recommendation that we appoint all the incumbents and also with Kevin Ross as the alternate.
Second.
So just to be clear,
You're
you're nominating Pat Abel,
Pat
Larry
Abel.
French, Rick Huber, Ron Stoll, Jackie Vaughn, and Kevin Ross as the alternate.
That's correct.
I heard the motion. Did I hear a second? Mr. Oberdehr, second. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. That 2 will pass 5-0. Okay. The Historic Preservation Committee. Need to appoint 3 members. And we have 2.
Mayor,
Mr. Rodriguez.
I just got something to say. I want to see if Paul Lloyd, I know your background is as a Granbury history ambassador. Would you be open to serving on this Historic Preservation Commission?
Can we take applications this morning? No, we don't have anybody
Or
else.
the members, owners of a landmark property in this church. That's right. Okay, thank you.
We'll be making a call tomorrow anyway.
Right, yeah. I was going to say, if you are interested, you could always come in and submit an application. We can make sure that you meet all of the requirements, and then it could be brought back at a later
Gotcha.
council
All right.
meeting, and you guys could make that appointment then.
Thank you. Then I'll make the recommendation that we just appoint Cindy Peters, since she's the only applicant.
And Lawrence LaHaye, we have the latest,
I'm sorry, and Lawrence Lay.
okay.
Yeah, you got
All
an
right.
old sheet. So
I did. I'm using my old one because that's where I put all of.
So I hear a motion to nominate, or to appoint Cindy Peters and Lawrence LaHaye. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And I hear a second from Mr. Ullum. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. That will pass 5-0.
Can we, actively go out and recruit somebody?
Yeah.
And with an application and the vetting that happens in the office here, certainly. In fact, I have a list of open committee places at the end here that we would love for you to recruit for. The Planning and Zoning Commission, we have opportunity for 4 members there.
4, that's correct.
All right.
Mayor,
And we have 5 that are signed up, right? 3 incumbents, and then Mr. Allen and Mr. Wolf.
That's correct.
Okay? Mr. Rodriguez?
I make the motion to appoint the 3 incumbents, Tim Hallman, Rita Kay, Kevin Watson, and also Jerry Allen.
Okay? I have a motion for that.
Second.
It's been second. Do we have other nominations? No? Okay. We have a motion, we have a second for the 3 incumbents, Mr. Hallman, Mr. Rita Kay, and Kevin Watson, and I am delighted to see that based upon the just the comprehensive plan that they presented last week. They do good work. And Mr. Jerry Allen was nominated, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay. All say nay. No one says nay, so that too passed 5-0. Okay. Zoning Board of Adjustment, we have 3 regular members and 1 alternate, and we have 3 incumbents. And do we have an alternate? I don't think we do.
You're going to appoint 3 regular members, and
Right.
we'll have to seek out an alternate.
Okay. Here's, do I have a motion to appoint the 3 incumbents that have signed up?
So moved.
Okay, so Ms. Eileen Kate, Ms. Mary Ella Riley, and Mr. Alexander Wolf. The motion is made. Is there a second? Mr. Rodriguez seconds. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. That too will pass 5-0. So Ms. Riley, if you have the list here, you can see that we have about a need for anywhere from 5 to 7 people, with some very location specific, in town, out of town, and others with skill specifics. Yeah, help us recruit to fill those positions. And thank all of the people that have signed up and are in favor of these positions.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to direct staff to look at extending the 2-year term to a 3-year term on some of these commission and boards, if that's possible. That would prolong, it would put the kind of the same term that the city council's on, and also give the opportunity for these board members to get acclimated to their position.
You willing to take that on?
Sure, we'll take care of that. And also, I would wonder if, like the Arts Commission has term limits, would you like to review that as well?
Yeah, I'd like to see if the actual Arts Commission would like to sit down or give suggestions through their chairman and see if that's something they want to revise as far as term limits
Yeah,
as
we
well.
have term limits on there now based on what the board at the time we created the ordinance wanted. But seeing how hard it is to get volunteers for all these boards, maybe we need to reconsider some of that, at least get some input from you. On the Arts Commission, they do. Yeah. The Ethics Commission and the Arts Commission has term limits. So we'll look at that. And we'll also look at the ethics ordinance too to see if there's something we can do different.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate your hard work here.
Okay. We are going to go to 7.4. Consider adopting resolution number 25-04 requesting the Hood Central Appraisal District complete a forensic audit as soon as possible and deliver said audit to the city of Granbury, also requesting a presentation and discussion of the 2023 end-of-year financial audit, determine the next steps based on review and discussion, and authorizing the mayor to represent the city in this matter. This is my agenda item. I have to do one a year. I like to get it out of the way. The resolution to request the Hood Central Appraisal District complete a forensic audit as soon as possible. We've requested that in the past, and I know that the Appraisal District has submitted a RFQ, and I believe that RFQ has been responded to. And I'll ask Mr. Rodriguez, who sits on the board as actually the president of the appraisal board, the status of the RFQ.
Yeah, Mayor, that agenda item is on their, that is on their agenda item for discussion this Thursday.
So this coming Thursday, the HCAD will make a decision on having a forensic audit, hiring a firm to do a forensic audit.
Mayor, I don't want to speak on behalf of the
Gotcha.
HCAD Board of Directors. I just refer to my statement that it's on the agenda for discussion this Thursday.
Okay. All right. Let me go to a few of the items that I wanted to discuss. It's no secret out there. I am not happy with the spending and even the presentation of the budget for the HCAD, and then I'm certainly not happy with spending. So every year there is an audit, and so I take that audit and look at it. In this year's audit, I had quite a few questions. But one of the things that I wanted to just comment on, and this is, all of these comments are, I'm not being negative, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with what's being reported. I'm saying I really don't understand what's being reported. So I requested in early or late last year that the appraisers, the auditors, step forth and present not only to the city but to the county, to the schools, and all of the entities the audit, and then ask, and then it would give us all a chance to ask questions and to better understand that audit, just simply for transparency and to make certain that we all understood that transparency was there in the appraisal district. The appraisal district came back and said, no, we don't really need to do that because we've covered this, and I'm paraphrasing this, and Mr. Rodriguez may, set me straight on this at any time, but they said, no, we have checked this out with our attorney, and the presentation that was given to the board of directors is sufficient. We're not obligated to go do another presentation. Well, let me read from the 2023 audit, and it's on page 2, and it's about the middle of the page. And this is the auditor speaking. They say, we are required to communicate with those charged with governance regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit, significant audit findings, and certain internal control-related matters that we identified during the audit. Now, I discovered just right at the beginning of this meeting, probably part of the issue that Mr. Rodriguez and I discuss and disagree on. And that's, discussion and disagreement's not a bad thing. But I checked on this, and the audit, the 2023 audit, actually listed the appraisal district as a primary government. And that's one of the issues that I have with the audit, because the state of Texas defines appraisal districts as component units of the primary government, and I'm quoting this. Example, the county or other local taxing units, rather than primary governments themselves. And then I will go off script and say primary governments themselves have two distinct characteristics. One is they have elected officials. Two, they have the ability to tax. The appraisal district has none of those, and the state of Texas recognizes that. It goes further to say that component units are defined as legally separate entities for which the elected officials of the primary government are financially accountable. And I want to read that again with using some other additions. And component units, which are appraisal districts, are defined as legally separate entities for which the elected officials of the primary government, which are cities, counties, and school boards, are financially accountable. We, as a city council, are accountable to you, the taxpayers, for the money that we expend, and much, a couple of $100,000 a year, we expend through the appraisal district. So we are accountable. And there's a disagreement with that. The attorneys apparently for the appraisal unit say, no, we are the governing body. I believe that that's going to get resolved, but in the interim, I still have some questions about the audit that took place in 2023. But that's how we get here. Ms. Walker, if you can put up a slide here. I also wanted to start with what is a fiduciary? And fiduciaries are persons or organizations that act on behalf of others and are required to put the client's interest ahead of their own, with a duty to preserve good faith and trust. Fiduciaries are thus legally and ethically bound to act in the other's best interest. Money managers, financial advisors, you can read that. But executors, board members, and corporate officers, certainly elected officials, all have fiduciary responsibility. So not only do we as the city council have a fiduciary responsibility to you as a taxpayer, we have a financial responsibility to make sure that the dollars that we set as the tax rate and that are collected are then used to the best interest of the client, you, the city manager, or you, the taxpayers for the city. So with that, if you will, Ms. Walker, if you go to page 2, and this is a little bit dense, but last year the auditors for the appraisal district were changed. The first time in something like 23 or 24 years. They have a new auditor. And before, they had Snow, Garrett, and Williams, and before that, they had Roberts and McGee, and after that, now we have Roberts and McGee, and I want to thank Roberts and McGee for doing the audit this year. But Roberts and McGee had to restate the audit before they could proceed. They felt that what they had there had changed. Now, it could be that it changed in the last 2 or 3 months of the year, but for any instance, there was a change. There was a $249,000 gain in assets, and there was a $473,000 reduction in liabilities. That's about $722,000 that the HCAD ended up better than when they were audited the prior year, as per the changes. And that's my question. Do you know, Mr. Rodriguez, why these changes were made?
Mayor, I haven't studied this information, so I can't answer that question.
But the audits, the audit's been approved, right?
Mayor, again, I haven't studied the documentation that you're presenting right here, so I can't answer your question.
Okay. I have all through my script here, I have an opportunity for you to answer the questions. I'll ask each time just in case. Okay. But this $700 and something thousand that the audit that the HCAD is in better shape than we thought when we were doing the budget. Would it have been nice to know? The budget's only about $2,900,000. $700,000 on that's like 25% better, in better shape than was presented when we had the opportunity to approve the budget. The other, or the next one on this was a little bit bigger. Deferred inflows of resources for the pension went from $144,000 to $1,200,000. $1,076,000 more, better in deferred inflows. So, Mr. Rodriguez, I would ask again, but I'm not. I'm not going to be a pain about it either. If it's going to be the same answer, then I'll just move right on. One thing I do want to know, though, because actually, the next meeting of the HCAD, the Hood Central, the Texas County and District Retirement System personnel were there, and they presented the latest update for the retirement plan that the HCAD has since 2016. If you could put that slide up, Ms. Walker, I think it's slide 3. Yeah. That's going to be very small, but written down here, I want you to note that between the years of 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20, $1,842,000 of additional employer contribution was made to the Texas County's district retirement system. That was for the employees of the appraisal district. It was to buy back their history. They had changed. This is, again, Mr. Rodriguez, if I go way off script here. But it was a buyback. They changed their retirement program, and this bought back the service that they had to their beginning day of service. So this is the additional contribution of $1.8 million. The normal contribution on a monthly basis or on an annual basis, $100,000 to $110,000. So this is like 20 years worth of contributions for 16 employees. My question on that, and if you can go to the next slide, please, was did the taxing district, did the HCAD make the employee contribution as well? Because I look at what the auditors show, and it shows that there was only a 7% contribution based upon their salary, year over year over year over year. So where, was the employee contribution made by the employer? Is that part of this $1.8 million? And is it part of this $1 million of $1,076,000 that was, identified as being in deferred inflows versus $144,000?
So, Mayor, I can speak to the document that was previous to this, but I can't speak to the document that you put here. I can say that 7% is the contribution that employees pay, and the employer, who is the HCAD, is matching those 7%, or they're actually contributing a little bit more than that year to year, depending on the percentage. But you look at this, it's 1.842 in additional employee contributions, and that's over this past 10 years. And you do that, I mean, this is a retirement system for each HCAT employee. This is not something that, this is a benefit for working at an organization, and it's, to me, it is like any organization that can provide more benefits can retain personnel. And the HCAT has retained a lot of people that have stayed there for years and years, and that's what you want. You want longevity in your employees, because you know that with longevity, it means that you have a good working environment. Now, 1.842 million over the past 10 years, you do that, have you compared this to the city and what they contribute as far as employee contributions?
No, the comparison, if you look at that next sheet there.
Well, let me tell you.
Well, you asked them a question, I'll let you respond. The city, it's not a comparison, because if you look in 2016, the employee's contribution as a percent of salary, 7%. But if you look down at the employer, the HCAD contributions as covered as a part of the employee's payroll, 39%, 31, 53, 52, and 49. And then, it's 7.8, 9.75, 12.9, which is in line with what it should be. But it averaged over 45% during those 2016, 17, 18, and 19. I'm simply asking, is any of that, are you paying in employee contribution for that period of time? What is that? Why is this so different?
I couldn't speak to your percentages there, but that's not what the employer is contributing per employee's contribution. So that, I don't know where you're getting your numbers from.
They come from the audit.
I'm just saying, I don't know where you're getting your numbers from and what this table is, but that's incorrect.
Well, did you approve the audit? Because that's where the numbers came from. Here they are, right here on page 29 and 30 in the audit, and it gives you the percentage of the employer's, of the salary, of the payroll that's there.
Does the council have that documentation?
Yeah, it's in your packet. It's the audit, the 2023 audit, which is why I have these questions.
Mayor, I don't know where you're getting your document and how you're putting the numbers in. And you can put numbers into the data table here and get 39.42%. But I'm telling you, that's not the percentage that the employee is contributing on behalf of the employee, or the employer's not contributing on behalf of the employee.
Well, you're making my case as to why I have issues with the audit, because these numbers come from the 2023 audit and the 2022 and before. It's a requirement that these numbers be in the audit, and they're there. So you can check if I transpose them properly, but I've checked them a number of times. Let me go to the next slide. I hear what you're saying, but these numbers are in the audit as well. Your total budget and your retirement budget. And if you look at that, your retirement, the original budget is $1.3 million over those 5 years. The actual spend was $2.3 million, so there's that $1 million extra. Over and under, it's over above the actuarial rate. And it's actually not covered by an amendment. I don't know, Mr. Wadley has come on board now. But it is not covered by an amendment. And in fact, each one of those is covered simply by the board making a decision to take the prior year excess funds and move it to the retirement budget. you know, there, you got to go back a few years to find what made you think that you could put an extra $1 million in the retirement budget? Because I can't find anything that's a resolution. I can't find any information from the retirement people. It's nothing that was shared with the governing bodies. And now, and I tie this back to 2023 because that's when it pops up after the auditor who's been there for 24 years says no issues, no issues, no issues. The new auditor steps in and says, hey, found about $1 million here in inflows that are coming, and you know we haven't been accounting for those. But you can see it right here on this budget, and those are from those two are from the audit reports. Let me move off the budget, or not the budget, but the retirement thing. Let's just go to the 2023 audit itself, page, what is this, page 19 in the audit.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Mr. Weatherly.
before you get off the retirement, but a question I have is when you look at even the original budget, why would those 3 years be 2 and 3 times as high as some of the other years? Because that goes back to a question I had last fall, and that is, because this might be the money that came from that. They talked about, they came up with a newer retirement plan or a different retirement plan or something, and they let people buy in or buy back or whatever. They contributed money from years previous, which I understand legally is an acceptable thing, but the retirement budget, it's a matching thing. The employee has to pay in a portion, and the employer matches it. And so when they did this previous year thing, when you could go back like 10 years, did the employee make his contribution? My wife did a similar thing when she went back into teaching, where we bought back years, and they had a program for that, where for her to recover her years.
To make her whole.
To make her whole, I don't know what that means. But to recover years that when she wasn't working, it wasn't the year she wasn't working, but we'd actually pulled the money out from the years that she was working way before. But anyway, to recover that, they had a program where you could buy back in and you paid interest on it. Was a program like that followed? And I asked that question last fall and never really had an answer on it, but I don't know if that's why these numbers are so big right there. Anyway, but Mayor, I appreciate you bringing all this to us.
Can I dive something in here on this page too?
Certainly.
To help clarify the muddy the water, I guess, maybe clarify the muddy water. So this is the way I'm reading it, and based on my education with retirement programs for local government, I kind of understand what's happening. So they had decided in 2016, before they adopted their budget, which was in 2015, that they were going to start contributing 7%, some sort of match, so 7%
Right.
approximately. It's a 1-to-1 match. Is that what y'all have? Okay, so
1 to 1.5.
yeah, 1 to 1.5.
It is,
So
it is now,
so-
then it was 1-to-1.
So whatever it was, so they budgeted for it and put it in there. And then at the end of their year, they said, well, you know, we've got this excess funds. This is what I'm interpreting. Again, I haven't seen any resolutions that directed the board to do this at the time. And to be real clear, Eddie was not on this board at that time. So we're speculating here, but from my experience looking at retirement programs, they made the decision somebody made the decision, whether it was they or one individual, whoever writes the check, made an individual to send $321,000 instead of $52,000 into the retirement fund that year. And they did it again the next year. And then they said, oh, well, since we've back-funded these employees for those time periods, our new premium is going to be $396,200. And then they said, then when they got to the end of the year, they had surplus funds, and, oh, well, we can contribute some more to it. And they did it again. Yet they budgeted the amount that they were told by the retirement system of $420,000 the next year, They had a surplus fund, and they did that again. And all that is attempt to get it down to where they're paying 9% down here as a match instead of, the 30 or 40% premium that you have. So you have an annuity basically that you're back funding, and the employee in most retirement programs have the opportunity to contribute their part into the system, and then the city or the county or the appraisal district or whoever then takes the hit for the additional premium that's needing to be paid to cover that reinvestment that they've allowed their employees to do. So I don't know if they had a retirement program prior to this at all, and they were able to roll those funds into that, but the match requirement is a burden from the taxing entities to match based on that decision to start the program in 2016. Because what they did is they said, okay, year one of this Texas retirement program that we have through the counties, 1 year of that is $52,000. That gets everybody 1 year vested. Well, in order to retire in any program, you need at least 5 years vesting if you're 60 years old or 55, whatever the magic date is. And they have aging workforce. They want to take care of them. Somebody decided we're going to put this money here. We don't know who, because we can't get any minutes. There's no records of it in the minutes or the resolutions. And that therein is what I see as your issue. And Eddie wasn't there. This can't be his issue, but that's the discovery process you're going through here, is you're seeing that as more years are vested for more employees, the liability for the taxing entity becomes greater, and that's why you see 396 and 420,000 and 355,000. And so they're kind of caught up because they've been paying a little extra every year to get that percentage back down. And you can see that they budgeted 147,000, but only spent 81,000. And then they had to budget 210, and they only had to spend 112 because they had prepaid some of that backlog of that annuity. That's all it is. It's an annuity. And we can call it a retirement program all you want. It's an annuity. If you were buying an annuity from a broker, the more you pay in, the more return you're going to get. And where you're sharing it here with the entity versus the employee. So in the 2023, they budgeted 176,000, and they spent 160, which was over. They over budgeted $16,591, which their actual match for that year was 9.38%. Right. So they're almost caught up to where it's 7% or 1.5 to 1. They're almost caught up.
And I understand the annuity and how that flows. What I don't understand is how much was paid
on behalf of the employee.
On behalf of the employee.
Was it the 1.5%, the catch-up provisions, or was it their mandatory match that they typically would have to pay? See, like Bruce was talking about, his wife was an educator. The school can't pay that for them. They have to pay that on their own. And then because of that, then teacher retirement system, because the school board makes a decision to allow employees to do that, then they have a bigger percentage of money to catch up to that 1.5% or that 1.5 times to the one time of the employee. Okay. And they have to match that and put it in a premium, in a pool of money out there to when they turn a certain age, the reserves are there to fund the liability. That's what's happening.
And I understand that. What I'm asking is, did they put money into for the employee?
Right.
And that is not known. And I should have said right up front, Mr. Rodriguez was not there he only came in 2022. So he was not there, and I don't expect him to know this, but I would expect the auditors, had they been here to present tonight, to be able to tell us this. But I, have gone through the minutes, the things. There is not a resolution to do this back pay, and the fact that not only is there not a resolution to do the back pay, but the board, and there is minutes to this, arbitrarily decided at the end of the year, because there's excess funds, which are supposed to be returned to the entities immediately, but the excess funds, they'll just put it in the retirement plan. I mean, the tax code says you will return the excess funds.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And that's $1,300,000 something dollars there. So I have that, it comes through the 2023 audit that there's $1,076,000 in inflow that wasn't there yesterday. So is that just a reporting issue? I don't know. I would love to be able to talk to the auditors about it. I wish they would have been here.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I mean, 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20, you see the excess additional employee contributions. You saw that.
Yeah.
They stopped
They got
after
caught
that.
up.
They got caught up.
All right, they got caught up, they got funded, their liability went down, they're able to.
Who made that decision?
The board of HCAD during those years made that decision. I mean, that is their decision, and what's done is done. We can't go back and recover that money at all. So this is a moot point. Moving forward, as the HCAD board has looked at this extensively, they haven't made any additional employee contributions as you can see on the chart itself.
That for
On the
retirement
retirement.
budget, right.
If you go back,
Instead, in 21, they took the 200,000, they added it to the retirement, and they took the other 200,000 and added it to the building fund, which then, the over and under difference, if you look at the total budget, it continued, and the board, the HCAD board, took those monies from excess funds and built a $2 million budget that they were going to use on a building until they got caught last year. So that didn't stop. I'm saying that's, I want to hear from the auditors.
you're not going to hear from the You're setting a precedent that is not what we want. You are asking another institution to present their auditor to be questioned by another entity. So what you're saying is that you would like our city attorney or city auditor to be questioned by the school board or by the county. No, we don't want that. That auditor works for that entity, point blank, and it's up to the board of directors at the HCAD to make that determination whether they want to present that auditor to that taxing entity.
And that's our disagreement. The state of Texas defines the appraisal districts as component units of the primary government, e.g. the county or other local taxing units. You are a component unit.
Where'd you get that language
from? The state of Texas, out of the code?
Out of the audit?
No, out of the code, out of the Texas state code, out of tax.
Let me read you what the Texas tax code requirement for the Hood County Appraisal District when it comes to financial audit. 6.063. This is the only thing that the HCAD board has to do. At least once a year, the board of directors of the appraisal district shall have prepared an audit of its affairs by independent certified public accountant or a firm of independent certified public accountants. The report of the audit is public record. A copy of the report shall be delivered to the presiding officer of the governing body, which is you, Mayor, of each taxing unit eligible to vote on the appointment of the district directors, and a reasonable number of copies shall be available for inspection at the appraisal office. Nowhere else in the Texas tax code does it say, please present your audit for questioning.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Or it may, I don't know that.
No, it
but I
doesn't.
do know that your auditor says we are required to communicate with those charged with governance, which is the city, the county, school boards, etc., among other matters, the planning, scope, and timing of the audit, significant audit findings, and certain internal cost-related matters that we identified during the audit. When will they be doing that for
A
us?
public hearing was done June 11th of last year when the audit was presented to the HCAD Board of Directors.
We disagree, and that's, like I said, it's okay to disagree, but we'll, like you said earlier, you're not an attorney, I'm not an attorney, and I hate to get the attorneys involved.
I hate for the the HCAD Board of Directors is tasked to request for qualifications and not the mayor of the city or any other taxing entities. When it comes for requests for qualifications, all right, you telling the HCAD, this is what we want on a RFQ, does not help relationships.
Well, you're using excess funds for non-budgeted items that is also not helping relationships. And the appraisal district, not you personally.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So when they do this audit, if they have budgeted $420,000 in 2019 to go to the retirement plan, would the audit not, and they spent 588 instead, so they spent extra, but wouldn't, the audit's just going to say, yep, that's what they budgeted and that's what they spent. It's not going to say, was it appropriate for that to be budgeted? And I understand what Mr. Kaufman's saying about they were trying to catch up or whatever. I don't know that, I understand if that's what you're saying. I don't know if that's right, if that's legal or whatever. And then I also don't know if they backfunded these, and that was my question a minute ago, if they backfunded all of these retirement plans, was it handled appropriately? Did the employees pay their portion, or did they just backfund it and say, you know, we're going to give you the 7% for 10 years worth of work that you didn't get to contribute to, and the employee did not have to contribute his part? That's the big question I have is, I mean, and I understand what you're saying about should they have done it. There's several questions here. And last fall when we said we wanted to have the forensic audit, that's what I thought this was going to provide. So when I saw, and I was listening to when I was coming back from the airport, I listened to this entire meeting. So when you were saying that it's going to happen this Thursday, you're going to discuss whether to have the audit or not, I guess, or discuss the different people that have put in applications. I don't know what the discussion is going to be. But I'm excited to see this go forward. I really think the forensic audit, and that's what I told the chief appraiser last fall. He was new. He'd only been on the job for a few months. I thought he would want this to get the numbers all out there and know where you're starting from. I mean, you look at this, there's all these questions about what's happened in the past, and Mr. Kaufman was just speculating over this is what they were doing. We don't really know that. And if there's no minutes, you've gone through all their minutes, Mr. Mayor, and if there's no documentation saying here's what they did, they just approved it, I just want to know that it was done right.
Well, if they approved it, it would be in the minutes. That's the whole issue, is who made the decision to move that money? I think that's the mayor's, I've heard him say that to me. Who moved that? I don't know. If it's not in the minutes, you don't know. I mean, they got a whole different board there now, so.
They've gone through 2 or 3 boards. Yeah. Let's move to, let's move to more recent. Mr. Rodriguez was there. But again, on the 2023 audit, if you look at this is capital assets not being depreciated. That was the first thing. I'm like, what is that? Land, I understand, you don't depreciate it. But construction in progress, since there had been no building approved, no construction approved, nothing like that, what is this $193,000 that we started the year with? What's the $23,884 that we added? And what is a $216,952? That was apparently the total. What's the retirement? What is a retirement? I don't know. Mr. Rodriguez, do you know?
Where are you talking about retirement?
Page 19, the top of the capital assets activity listing, the construction in progress, which I'm questioning, what was that? What was that? And what happened to, what is a retirement? Do you just write it off? What? How did we spend $216,000 on construction in progress?
No, that wasn't construction in progress. That was under the retirements.
It's what?
That was under retirements or additions or January 1st, 2023.
Yeah, and then there's additions 23,884, retirements, so the December 31, 2023, the number is 0. That's a write-off. What was it that you wrote off, that the HCAD wrote off?
We can answer these questions at the HCAD board meeting if you want to have these questions answered.
I've been wanting to have these questions answered for 2 years, so, yeah, that'd be nice. Glad to hear that. Here's some more questions then. As long as you're talking about that, you want to go to the next one? When you look at the budget, or when you look at the audit like this, you make sure that it ties 1 year to the next. And sure enough, you go down here to construction in progress, it ties. They ended 2022 with 193,068. 2021, they ended with 75,992. Do you want to go to the next slide there, Ms. Walker? I know this is small, but if you look at this slide, you'll see that the Fred Cobble and 2CHA architecture firm was paid exactly $75,292. Same thing as we ended 21 with, started 22. Added out, all adds up to 216,952. Construction in progress. What was the construction in progress that had been approved by the taxing entities, the people that send the money, the taxpayer money, to the appraisal district to do their job?
There was no construction, Mayor.
All right, so what did you write checks for $216,000 for? What did the appraisal district write checks for? Mr. Wadley?
Fred Cobble's the architect,
Yeah.
so he was paid $88,000 last year.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, yeah,
Because I thought last year's when they canceled the project.
they did.
Okay.
But they just, yeah.
Okay.
But they, yeah.
So, Fred Cobble and 2CH, the only thing I know about that, Mayor, was those are contracts that were, intentions or services that were under contract. Once I got on board, those had to be executed. So, they obligated the HCAD with those services. So that's where it ended up, and you have to pay those services when they are under contract.
And what were these, what was being contracted?
Fred Cobble was the engineer that was trying to put together that new building.
The building that had never been approved?
Was there a deliverable for the $94,000 in
There was deliverables.
beginning of '23 and, okay.
But those were decisions that were made prior to me getting on the board.
But in '22 and '23,
Those
that's a
were-
total of almost $200,000. Did you receive something for the money?
Yep.
What?
Like what?
We have architect plans.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
We'll be able to see those? We paid we paid $387,000 for architect plans for a building that we were not authorized to pursue to even build?
It was not
That's
built.
fiduciary responsibility.
Mayor, I'm not arguing with that. I mean, fiduciary responsibility should have started back in 2016 when you're pointing out these items that the HCAD should have never spent. That's the taxing entity's fiduciary responsibility. That's the county's responsibility. That's the Granbury ISD taxing entity's fiduciary responsibility, is to oversee the HCAD during 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. Where were they then? Where was that? Where was the city council? Why weren't they doing their job then?
Good question.
All right? Where's the county commissioner during that time? Where's the school board during that time?
Good question.
Exactly. It is not the responsibility, you want to put it on HCAD as not being fiduciary, but it's the taxing entities. You pointed it out yourself. It's the taxing entities to oversee HCAD.
I know, and you've been arguing about that. As you said, I don't want you telling me to bring the auditors up here.
We didn't have an issue with the auditors or the forensic audit, Mayor. The issue is trying to balance out between a number of certain tax entities that don't want it at the very beginning, and a number of certain tax entities that do want it in the very beginning. Now it's up to the decision for the HCAD board to determine whether they should spend taxpayers' money over $120,000 extra for a forensic audit that may or may not answer your questions.
Oh, I suspect it will.
So that is where the HCAT is. They are doing their fiduciary responsibility, is determining whether or not this is a needed action or not.
Well, let me say this again. Component units, as defined, are legally separate entities, so you're separate, for which the elected officials of the primary government, which is what this is, are financially accountable. So should they choose not to be financially accountable, I think that's an issue. That's their issue to resolve. I understand that. I agree with that. But it's our issue to understand this $387,000 that the appraisal district spent on all of these items that you see here. And here's who they spent them with. They spent it on all these items, and we got what? I mean, it should never have been spent. But what did we get? What was the product? I'd like to see the $387,000 on that. Going to the, going back to that sheet, what is it, 7, if you don't mind, Ms. Walker? There's other things on here too. Like if you look under general fund budgetary highlights, it says amendments of the original 22 general fund annual budget were primarily related to the increased building maintenance and additions to capital outlay for the new building. So in 2022, you knew about the new building, and it is in the tax code that if you're going to do a capital building, you will list each one of the capital assets that you're going to go to. It's also in the tax code that you can amend your budget at any time. But the appraisal district will submit to the governing body, again, the proposed amendment 30 days prior to, and it will have to be approved 30 days prior to any action being taken. So you can get the amendment. So I asked the auditor if they would provide these amendments. Snow and Garrett. Yeah, Snow and Garrett. And they said no, that we can only provide those to the HCAT. So I put in a information request to the HCAT. Said, would you provide me with those amendments? Because we hadn't seen them here. The information request was non-responsive, which is to say they acknowledged we don't have those. So you're violating the tax code there, again. Then you get down to the last sentence. Major capital asset events during the current year included capitalizing engineering costs related to the construction of a new building. So you capitalized engineering costs, which you can do, but you have to have something to show for it. Or you wind up with $387,000 or $293,000 that becomes a write-off. Here's one, Mr. Rodriguez, that the next one, if you will, Ms. Walker, see what I've got there. This is the, would you put up slide 9 first? Oh, no, yeah, that way. If you look at this, this is the audit that you guys approved. And it says, we have audited these we've audited this original budget, engineering fees, $210,000, and we actually amended the budget, but nobody was involved in that. And we actually spent $229,643. If you'll go to the next slide, I know that this is really tiny, but this is their original budget in the second to the last column there. And you'll see it says capital $10,000 and capital outlay lands and buildings $200,000. There's the $210,000 that is presented to us in the budget for us to approve as capital and capital outlay for land and building. Here's the budget on how the actually reported the dollars spent. Engineering fees. Engineering fees and capital outlay are two different things, and from an accounting standpoint. So I have lots of questions on this audit, lots of questions. But I'm not the only one. I know that you indicated that I'm out here as a lone wolf, but the county has had quite a few conversations. In fact, they actually, one of the commissioners asked for she did a information request and asked for all of the emails associated with what was going on with the new building. And if you'll throw that up, this is a summary of the emails with the people that are involved. And this is a summary, but in 7/19/21, there's emails out there, and Mr. ERO is Eddie Rodriguez, or Eddie Rowe. Eddie Rowe was the chief appraiser. He's on every one of these. But 7/19, he says we're going to build a new CAD office. So we've had an opportunity to be notified since the middle of 21. And then the architect contacted, there's individuals from the school, individuals that are on the board there, all going back and forth. Each one of these summary items, there's a email, and it's in the packet. Read the entire email, and you find that since mid-21, the appraisal district worked diligently to build a new building without ever coming back and talking to the entities about that, which they're required to do by the tax code again, which doesn't seem to be important at this point in time.
Mayor, you keep on bringing up the building. I don't know why.
Because it costs us a ton of money.
All the money that was put away in the building outlay for that building has been returned to the taxing entities. So that's a dead issue. These things that were done in 2021, again, where was the taxing entities oversight on this? Where was the city council oversight on this? Where was the county commissioners oversight on this? Where was the Granbury School Board oversight on this? Where were you overseeing this in 2021? Where were you? I mean, you could have done so much during that time frame, prevented all these things from happening, but
I think that was a private citizen.
yeah, it was done. Eddie Rowe, he did his best as the chief appraiser, and this was done without, all I can say is that he was trying his best to do his best at the time, during this time. And this is back, you look at all this from 7/21 to the very last entry, 1/23. There's no building fund. There's no building. So
There is an outlay of, $400,000.
Is there a history of misuse of funds? I don't know. Is there improper ways of doing things? It sure looks that way. The HCAD board probably did things differently than the HCAD board that's there now. But that's done in the past. What you're trying to do is make a case from all this stuff that's happened in the past to things that you think are happening now, which is not the case. All right?
Well,
I don't see it that way. It's not trying to make a case for something that happened at the end compared to what you're doing now. I don't think anyone's even saying anything inappropriate happened necessarily. But again, there's a lot of questions about the money, and the fund that was remaining was returned to the entities, but not the $300,000 to $400,000 that was spent on the architect and engineering, and there were funds that were spent.
I don't disagree with you, Bruce.
Anyway, I've ever since last fall when this all came up, I've wanted the audit. I hope it goes forward because it would answer these questions. And the mayor has a lot of questions. I've got a lot of the same questions.
Mr. Rodriguez, to bring it a little bit more current, we got this audit, what'd you say, middle of this year?
Yes.
And on these engineering fees, we list $229,643 in the engineering fees that were spent in 2023. That's close enough to being current, and you were there. What were those? What's those
Like I
numbers?
told you previously, Mayor, that was a contract that was done with the architect prior to me getting there, and we just had to fulfill the contract
Contract was for
and the financial
200
obligations.
216 versus 229 is now $450,000.
I can't speak to that number.
Well, you wrote off 216 earlier in the year, and you spent 229 according to the audit here. I know you know why I'm concerned about it, because I'm not getting the answers. I'm not getting, we spent it on this, we spent it on that. The contract doesn't call for this. The contract, you wouldn't pay $300,000 on for in fact, it doesn't call for that. Where did the money go? And now it's written off. Our fiduciary responsibility, our financial accountability, you can't not ask the questions. And once you've seen this, you cannot unsee it. I think I'm finished. Other questions or comments? If you put that resolution back up there.
I do
Go
have
ahead.
a comment.
Go ahead.
So the contract for the engineering services, did you get a copy of that?
No.
Have you asked
Oh.
for it?
You're the one with
Fred
Cobble?
Cobble.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's
And
there.
How much was it for, do you know?
67,000 and some percentage of a $6.5 million building that was being proposed, and had all kinds of legal,
Well, it's not uncommon for the engineer to engage, the architect to engage the geotech and what's unusual is to do all that on a piece of property you hadn't bought. But, so that's an issue, but if the contract that, was done and it authorized him to do that work, if there's minutes where the board said, go forth and do the geotech, go forth and do the soil samples and the whatever they did for that, then I can understand what's going on, but without the contract saying that, without the board voting on that. But really, we never got, as a governing body, we never got an opportunity to see, other than the presentation made in, what year was that?
It's 2023, March
2023. Other than that presentation and never receiving a resolution asking us to fund it, I don't know how we get to where we are today legally. So I think that, and it all happened simultaneous to the exit of one chief appraiser, the entrance of another chief appraiser, and his subsequent exit. And so, I was hoping you had a contract there that said, that in your file there that said they can do this, that, and that, and here's how much it is. But
I do have that contract, I just don't have it right here. I got 2 bags full.
But it doesn't say 400 and something thousand?
No.
Okay.
No. It's a percentage here, percentage there based upon completion and value, and he's valuing everything at $6.5 million.
We never got off the ground, never even got the land on it.
No.
No.
And that probably, in my opinion, if I was in the board back then, I'm sure there'd be different things. That building was built in conjunction with the idea that was brought by a county commissioner to implement the Texas DPS there, Texas Department of Transportation, to have a new driver's license place, and the whole idea was brought to as a joint venture with the from the HCAD. That's my understanding. I'm just speaking from what I know, is it was going to be a joint venture to have, bring back the driver's license, Department of Public Safety in the same building as the HCAD and offset that building's, the cost of that building with what DPS was going to pay as far as rent. And that was a great idea at the time. But again, that wouldn't have been a $6 million building. I don't, it would have been less than that. It would have been a $2.5 million building if they went through the proper procedures.
You know,
of getting approval.
Mr. Kaufman asked about a contract with this individual with Fred Cobble. There is one out there with Fred Cobble. There's also a terms agreement from the Government Capital Corporation for $6.5 million that you guys, that the 2023 board did review, and in fact, you set up a resolution to have that $6.5 million spent with borrowing money from government capitalization. That is in the minutes.
Oh, that is in the minutes, but you have to look at it from a different lens there, Mayor. You know, when you're in a board of directors, just like we're on the city council, you take guidance from the person, like for us, for instance, like the city council takes guidance from the city manager. And then the HCAD board of directors takes guidance from the chief appraiser, all right? And you trust that individual to know their responsibilities and their duties to guide those entities or those boards in the right direction. At that time, Eddie Rowe was trying to find a way to figure out how do they get capital or how do they build a building, and that was one of the options. That was an option. Hey, establish this, establish that. And that was the guidance that was given to the HCAD Board of Directors, is to create this type of organization, get capital, that's how you would get the funding and all that, because at that time they were under the assumption that HCAD could not borrow money, all right? But a private taxing entities could, or home corporation could. To date, that home corporation has been rescinded. There's no corporation that the HCAD has. It's been, resolved. It's never, in matter of fact, it's almost like it's never been properly created by the HCAD, so it never existed. They never borrowed money. No money was transferred into that entity.
Yet the emails, as you read them, will talk about that home office corporation, and should we continue using it, or the operations was as if you had the home office corporation, period.
And I'm sure that was an option that they were exploring during that time frame. And was it the correct option? Was it the right option? I don't know. It was just an option that they had on the table.
Well, I will vote on it, but I, for one, I have no confidence in the numbers. I had no explanation for the numbers, had no availability. The auditors are not available. I have no confidence. I have no confidence in the numbers, and I have no confidence based on the fact that this use of excess funds is not just this year. It started many years ago, and it continued. It didn't stop when they stopped putting money into the retirement fund. The excess funds either came out, went into another fund, or were set there and held until that's the 1.9 million of the 2-point-something million that was held back, that was returned.
And I'm not going to argue on that one either, Mayor. I'm sure that at that time, that board of directors were looking for ways to try to get a new building for their employees and to have a better building for the public to enter. I mean, they're still in the same building. They still don't have public restrooms available for the public. You see an overload of people coming in, trying to squeeze into the little lobby area that it has. I mean, you've been there to our board meetings, and And sometimes you've seen that that whole room be full and no seating available because we just don't have the seating capacity for the HCAD Board of Directors meetings. I mean, the building, they do need a new building. There's no doubt that they need a new building. How they went about that back in 2019 and so forth, they were just looking after their employees. They were looking after for the taxpayers coming in, and they were trying to figure out a way to get a new building. Did they get the entity's approval? Did they look at the tax code on how they should do this? Did they look at 6 point so-and-so to look at how to properly request that type of permission from the tax entities? Obviously not. Obviously not, Mayor. But that's not to say that HCAD board is the same as the one today. The one today has been trying to right the ship, but it's like riding a aircraft carrier. You can't just turn it on a dime. You have to gradually move the needle to a certain degrees and try to get that aircraft to move in that direction, and then you get that ship in the right direction and you continue to move forward. I think that's what the HCAD Board of Directors this time around is doing. I mean, they've hired an experienced, seasoned chief appraiser to overlook what the Board of Directors are doing. He goes by the book. He's been transparent. He's been accommodating. I mean, all the documents that you have here that you presented, all the emails that you requested, all the audits that you requested, I mean, that's been provided by the HCAD staff and by the chief appraiser. So they have been as transparent about every documentation that they possibly can in order to satisfy every request that you've submitted through them.
Except for tonight,
Which is?
the engineering fees. You called it capital outlay when you said to us, do you want to budget $210,000 for
So you
capital
haven't
outlay?"
been given those documents?
I want to know what the $293 or $229,000 was spent for on engineering fees that took the place of the capital outlay that I approved on the behalf of the citizens of Granbury. I approved $210,000 for capital outlay. The city did. You spent 210, or you say 229 on engineering fees. There is no capital outlay. So what are the engineering fees? What are you spending this on, and who's getting this check?
You know, the engineering fees, I can't give you those documents right now, obviously.
Right.
But, I mean, if you request some information.
I requested this in November. We're now talking almost February. This, you say you're saying that you're moving this aircraft carrier. I'm saying, no, you're not.
Okay.
You're continuing with the same practices, you're continuing with the same lack of transparency, and the appraisal board is continuing with the budget is a great example. Does the budget say on 6.0 that you will provide for each salaried position, you'll provide the salary, you'll provide the benefits, you'll provide any extra expenses? And did you do that? No. I had to put in a public information request to get that information. And then I find that the benefits, the car allowance is now included in the benefits, and it's being spread unequally across the board there.
Have you received the documents that you
requested?
request?
You guys are not following the tax code. So I was relying on the audit to
Mayor,
see what was happening. I got nothing.
Mayor, it's very disappointing that you're sitting here as the head of the city council saying that about the HCAD.
I'm not disappointed. Sorry I disappoint you, but I am not disappointed. The appraisal district is in need of understanding fiduciary and accountability and responsibility. And that starts with being transparent in reviewing their audit, which they've not done.
You've received thousands of emails, thousands of documentation, and you're still saying here that we're not being transparent.
It's that documentation that I rely on to prove it.
You stated your case. I mean, all this information that you presented is from the HCAP. And you're still saying it's not transparent. If you didn't have this information, you wouldn't be presented it tonight.
No, we'd be in a different venue. I have nothing else. You guys put you to sleep?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to call the question and make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2504 as presented in item 7.4.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Corrigan makes a second. All in favor of approving the motion as read, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
I hear 2 nays. Who said nay? Mr. Olam? Mr. Rodriguez said nay. Motion passes 4-2, or yes, 4-2. We have Mr. Wadley here. So this will be continued. All right. We have executive session. We have 551071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation. 551072, deliberation regarding real property, and 551087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. We're now in executive session.